Next.js 16 was released in the Next.js conf last week, and I've been spending some time with the new features, and this isn't a groundbreaking paradigm shift or complex architectural overhaul, but rather it's a refinement release, and that's exactly what the framework needed, in my opinion. And some features were already available in the beta, but now they are officially stable and ready for production. So today I want to talk you through the main updates, share some of my thoughts on what they mean for developer experience, for example, and highlight the features I'm most excited to try. So let's dive right into the release notes. So the biggest change in Next.js 16, I think, is the introduction of cache components using the use cache directive. And instead of the framework making aggressive caching decisions for you, which led to a lot of confusion and unpredictability in previous versions, you now explicitly tell Next.js what to cache. So, for example, cache this component, or cache this function, or cache this page. And this is a huge improvement for developer experience. One of the most frustrating things about working with Next.js in production was not really being sure how or if caching was working. So you'd deploy something, see stale data, and spend hours debugging whether it was your code, the framework's caching layer, or something in between. And with the explicit caching, you get the control and predictability, and you know exactly what's cached and when it revalidates. So there is no more guessing. In order to use this, you need to enable this in your next config.ts by setting the cache components true. And the Next.js team also mentioned that they are sharing more documentation in the coming weeks. And I'm looking forward to diving deeper into this once those docs are out, but I'm sure I'll test them out on my own before that too. But happy to see the upcoming docs too. Then next, we have the Next.js DevTools MCP. So Next.js 16 introduces the Next.js DevTools MCP, which integrates the model context protocol to give AI agents contextual knowledge about your Next.js application. And this is interesting for a couple of reasons. So first, not all LLMs currently have good Next.js knowledge. The Next.js team has been running evaluations at Next.js org .evals, benchmarking different AI models and agents on Next.js code generation and migration tasks. And having AI agents with built-in Next.js knowledge through DevTools MCP means better debugging suggestions, better error explanations, and better understanding of routing, caching, and rendering behavior. And then second, this signals something bigger about where development tooling is heading. So the model context protocol is a way for AI agents to interact with tools and systems. And we are moving toward a future where agents need a common protocol to communicate effectively. And it's good to see that Next.js is adopting this early. To be honest, I haven't done much with the MCP yet beyond some basic tests, but this is definitely something I'm going to explore more in the near future. Then we have the middleware TS renamed to Proxy.ts, and this makes it explicit that this code runs on Node.js runtime, which is good. So the change is pretty straightforward here. Rename your file, rename your exported function to proxy, and everything else stays the same. So no functional changes, just better naming. And on this, honestly, I think this is a super smart move because with all the server components, client components, edge functions, it's easy to lose track of where the code actually runs. So having a clear name like Proxy.ts makes the network boundary more apparent. And you know this is where you're intercepting and modifying requests. It's a small change, but clarity matters, especially when you are building complex applications with multiple rendering strategies. Then we have some logging improvements. So development request logs now show you how much time is spent on compilation versus rendering. And build logs are also more detailed, breaking down each step on and how long it took. So these improvements are helpful when you are building hundreds of times a day. Knowing where the bottlenecks are makes it so much easier to optimize your workflow. And when builds take longer than expected, having visibility into which step it slows gives you something concrete to investigate. Again, it's not flashy, but it's the kind of quality of life improvement that makes daily development just so much smoother. Then under the developer experience, we have Turbopack. So Turbopack has been the default bundler since the beta, and now it's officially stable. The speed improvements are real, like 2 to 5x faster builds and up to 10x fast refresh. And here's the thing, when you're building once or twice, the speed difference is nice, but not life-changing. But when you're iterating all day, building dozens or hundreds of times, those improvements compound. And faster builds mean less context switching, less waiting, and more time actually building. And this is also something that if you have AI agents doing the building over there, the milliseconds and hundreds of milliseconds compound really quickly. And then Turbopack file system caching is now in beta, which stores compiled artifacts between the dev sessions. And this is especially valuable for large projects where cold starts can be slow. And all of Vercel's internal apps are now already using it, and the feedback has been positive. And I'm excited to try this out also. Anything that reduces friction in development loop is worth exploring, in my opinion. Next up, we have build adapters. So these are now in alpha, and it allows you to create custom adapters that hook into the build process. And this is particularly useful for deployment platforms and teams that need to modify Next.js configuration or customize the build output. If you're self-hosting Next.js or deploying to a non-standard environment, these build adapters give you the flexibility to adapt the build process to your needs without forking the framework. And it's still early, it's in alpha, but this is a clear signal that Next.js is listening to the self-hosting community and making it easier to run Next.js outside of Vercel's infrastructure. Then the built-in support for the React compiler is now stable following the React compiler 1.0 release. The React compiler automatically memoizes components, reducing unnecessary re-renders without any manual code changes. So it's essentially doing the optimization work you'd normally do with, for example, use memo and use callback, but it just does it automatically. And the trade-off is compile time. The React compiler relies on Babel, so builds will take longer. It's not enabled by default, which makes sense. Vercel is still gathering data on how it impacts build performance across different application types. If you're working on an app where re-renders are performance bottlenecks, this is worth enabling or at least testing out. Just be aware of the build time cost. Then we have the enhanced routing and navigation. So Next.js 16 includes a complete overhaul of the routing and navigation system. The layout deduplication means that when you prefetch multiple URLs with a shared layout, the layout is now downloaded once instead of separately for each link. So if you have a page with 50 product links, the shared layout downloads once, not 50 times. And that's a massive reduction in network transfer. Incremental prefetching means Next.js only prefetches parts that aren't already in cache rather than entire pages. The system also cancels requests when links leave the viewport and prioritizes prefetching on hover, which is super great. And the caching APIs also got improvements. So the revalidate tag function now requires a cache life profile as a second argument to enable stale while revalidate behavior. And there is also a new update tag function for server actions that gives you read your write semantics. And these aren't features you notice immediately, but they make the framework faster and more efficient under the hood. And then there wasn't too many breaking changes, just few. So Next.js includes some breaking changes. The biggest ones are around async parameters. So params and search params now need to be evaded, and functions like cookies, headers, and draft mode are now async. And there are also some changes to Next image defaults and some deprecation features being removed. But the Next.js teams provides code mods to help with the migration, and there's a comprehensive upgrade guide in the documentation. So if you're upgrading production app, budget some time to go through the migration checklist, but it's not a massive rewrite, I think. But overall, I think Next.js 16 isn't trying to wow you with new capabilities. It's more focused on solving problems developers have been dealing with for a while. And caching is now predictable, Turbopack is stable, routing is faster, logging is clearer, the developer experience is overall smoother, I think. And honestly, I think that's what a mature framework should be doing. So not chasing features, but refining what already exists. And Vercel has always been good at listening to developer feedback and improving the developer experience. So when they have made mistakes with, for example, caching defaults in previous versions, they listened and fixed them. And that pattern, I think, continues here too. And I'm looking forward to building with these features. It's one of the things to read about them, and other thing to actually use them in real projects. So that's something I recommend you to also. Don't just read about them, but actually start coding with them and experimenting with them too. But yeah, I hope you found this video at least somewhat helpful, and if you did, please hit the like button below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.